Last week, I got to see a private demo of some big time gameplay, and it looks awesome. Now in this video, I'll share some pre-alpha gameplay footage, which I've not seen shared anywhere on YouTube yet, so I think it's probably kind of exclusive. And then we'll cover some updates since my last video, and I'll be giving away 5 Ruby Passes, which give early access to the game after the Jade Pass holders. Let's get started. Welcome to DeFi Now. I'm Josh Cross, and if you love ad-free crypto content and you're still here in the bear market, be sure to subscribe down there with a bell notification so that you don't miss out on all the great info and the giveaways that we do here. Now, this is a sponsored video, so I want to give a big thanks to the team for supporting the channel. But as always, this is not financial advice or an endorsement, and you got to make your own decisions. Also, keep in mind that there will be no pre-sale, no public sale, no IDO for big time. The only way to get the token will be playing the game. Anyone saying otherwise is either misinformed or a scammer. Be safe out there. Now, before jumping into the gameplay footage, I just want to clarify that this game will be absolutely free to play, and players won't need to interact with the blockchain unless they want to. Big Time will have custody of all the in-game assets for players who are cool with that, but power users or blockchain enthusiasts are free to pull out their NFTs and tokens from the game to self-custody them. Also, there won't be any play-to-win mechanics. They stress this very heavily in the demo. No play-to-win mechanics at all. And this has some really important implications for the NFTs that I'll get into later, maybe this video, maybe another one. But first, the gameplay footage. Again, this is pre-alpha and it's not nearly as detailed as what I was able to see, but it gives you a rough idea of what to expect. Here we see the Chronomancer throwing down with a focus on long distance, high damage per second magic attacks. But they're probably pretty fluffy, so you want to keep your distance. Then we see the Time Warrior in the heat of the fight, tanking around with that great hammer. He's fighting alongside the Time Ninja, Shadow Blade, who's more of a roguelike character, and that's probably the one I'm going to choose. And then lastly is the Quantum Fixer, who can hold their own in a fight, but mainly serves as the team's healer. What we're looking at is a dungeon instance, which, if you remember from my last video, is procedurally generated. Dungeons aren't completely random, but they will be different each time that you enter, which is really great for the replay value. I believe this is the same dungeon I saw in the private demo, only there was a lot more loot and other gameplay mechanics there. In my last video, I mentioned I might do some live streaming playing the game, but after seeing this, I guarantee I'm going to live stream it because then I can say that I'm working, but I'm actually playing a game. But if you're interested and you want to join my party, first join my Discord in the description and then we can coordinate that. Now, there's a lot more that I'd like to share about gameplay, including the skill system, but I'm actually under NDA, so we'll have to wait until those are more fleshed out and ready for public release before I get the okay to share that. But I do want to cover some space details that I didn't mention in my last video, so let's talk NFTs. Let's first talk about space and some details that were released after my last video. As you probably know, space is the virtual land or real estate for the big time metaverse. Comes in 3 sizes, small, medium, and large, and in 5 rarities: rare, epic, legendary, mythic, and exalted. Now, I suspect they have plans for the ultra rare ones, the mythic and the exalted ones, that will give benefits to holding them over the lower tiers. But for now, the best info we have on each type relates to how many sockets they have, which you can see by the number of hexagons next to each one in these pictures. The small rare has 2 sockets, and then the large exalted has 11. Sockets are extremely important because they allow you to add extra utility to your personal time machine. As I mentioned in my last video, in order to play to earn in the game, you'll need space as well as a timekeeper. The timekeeper creates an hourglass that you fill and then refill with sand. And as you play, as long as you have sand falling in your hourglass, you'll earn tokens as loot drops in the game. Now, a timekeeper takes up 2 sockets in your space. Then there's the Forge, which allows you to create and upgrade your NFTs to make rarer ones. The Forge requires 3 sockets, so if you want to play to earn with the timekeeper and you want to create and upgrade NFTs, you're going to need 5 sockets minimum. So you could get a small and a medium rare space, or 1 large rare, or some other combination. But I'd also consider that they will have more additions that require sockets, so it's not a bad idea to have extra, especially right now when the prices are really cheap, if you want to. Not financial advice. Now this leads me to my strategy, which is to look at the cost per socket. So let's take a look at that. Currently, the cheapest space per socket is the rare medium at $400. It has 3 sockets, so that's $133 per socket, whereas the exalted large is just under $24,000 with 11 sockets, making it almost $2,200 per socket. Again, I suspect that there will be some other benefits from holding the ultra rare space NFTs, but from the info that we have so far, the cost per socket is a good way to consider which ones to buy. If you need 5 sockets, the cheapest way now is to pick up a small rare and a medium for $710. If you wanted more sockets than that for some future proofing, the epic small and medium are also reasonably priced per socket. Now, before we move on, I just want to mention that space is only for sale on the Big Time Marketplace and not on Opensea or any other marketplace. So if you see them elsewhere, it's a scam, so don't fall for it. Also, these prices I mentioned are on the open market, so they will definitely change over time and might even be changed by the time this video goes out. And now let's look at the early access passes. We've got gold, silver, jade, and now ruby access passes. Holders of these access passes will be able to play the beta, which should start next month, rolling out with gold pass holders. Then holders of the silver, and then jade, and then ruby passes gain access in those following rollouts. There are 1,000 gold, 3,000 silver, and 8,000 jade, and then an unannounced number of ruby passes, so that's how many players will be joining with each wave. Now, after seeing that awesome gameplay earlier, and then we combine that with the knowledge that the earlier you play the game, the sooner you can earn tokens and rare NFTs, let's look at how to buy the access passes. There are 3 different options here, which, to be honest, seems needlessly confusing, but you can either buy them on the Big Time Marketplace or on Opensea. And on Opensea, there's the Big Time Founders Collection and the Big Time Early Access Launch Collection. They're both created by Big Time Studios, which is verified, and it's linked in the description. So be careful, don't go to any other stores. I'm sure there's probably scams on Opensea. To be clear, there is no difference between these passes, between these 3 options when it comes to utilities. A gold pass in the Founders Collection gives identical access to a gold pass in the Early Access Collection or Big Time Marketplace. The Ruby Pass gives access after the Jade Pass, as I said, so it doesn't affect the other Access Pass holders. Just think of it as a way for the team to control how they onboard more users and scale more players and scale the number of players over time, rather than just letting everyone in on the beta all at once. You will be able to buy a Ruby Pass if you want to, but they aren't for sale yet, and they also haven't announced how many Ruby Passes there will be. So for now, the best way to get one is to first subscribe to my channel, leave a comment below, and then go make yourself a Big Time account from my link in the description, and then participate in the Big Time community. Technically, you don't have to leave a comment or subscribe to enter to win, but is that really a chance that you want to take? You know? Also, be sure to check out my non-sponsored explainer on Big Time that I made back in December, which is also linked in the description. Sound off your thoughts in the comments below, and if you made it this far and got some value from watching, a thumbs up down there is always helpful, and I appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, and keep exploring.
You know when you're recording a video for your YouTube channel, but then you finish recording it and realize that your mic was muted the whole time? So then you need to re-record it a second time, and then you find out that the second time you had a voice modifier on, so you have to record it a third time? Yeah, I should really be better at this by now.